Wait a minute, Paul!
Okay, so we're going in with round 2, so let's start talking about the organization at large. Yes, my fellow Keyblade Warriors, we're back once again with Kingdom Hearts Month, but this time with a countdown of the Organization XIII. Not the new one that's been established by Xehanort in the whole convoluted stuff of Dream Drop Distance. Thank you for fucking with our mind yet again, Nomura. But still though, I figured that for me and my buddy of Chris, we'd tackle our own list of top 7 organization members. Now keep in mind, sometimes we might be intertwining our own choices, or our choices might be lower than the other one's choices, but for the sake of argument's sake, who gives a shit? So, let us all begin first with number 7. For myself, coming in at number 7, I would go with Luxord. Now, when I say Luxord, I actually do mean the gambler himself. For some odd reason, when I first encountered him in both Kingdom Hearts 2 and then revisiting stuff in 358 over 2 days, I kind of found his motif about being a gambler that uses all these games of chance to be kind of reminiscent to that of someone that is down on their luck, trying to simply have a small minution of a chance at victory. And being one of the more underestimated sort of members of the organization, not looking at you, Demix, you suck! But still, whenever I'm just trying to go over all the things with how the designs and how the character motivations and how you just do the battle system itself, Luxord kind of stands out among a lot of other members I could think about, Larxene and Demix, that I really did appreciate for all the motifs that they actually put in for themselves. But why only at the bottom of the list at number 7 though? Well, in all honesty, in comparison to the other members of the organization that have leagues upon leagues of different things that really showcase how powerful and very influential and dedicated they are to their position to be an antagonist, be this, that, and the third thing, Luxord didn't really stand out in his own lore, let alone in his own boss fights. His games outshine him, and that's a big-ass problem. But not enough of a problem that the gamble didn't put him at number 7, as we then focus on Chris's number 7.
First, I would like to say, I am not very educated on the Organization XIII. I don't know a whole lot about them. I'm gonna be honest. I've only really played the first and second one. I know the second one is full with Organization XIII, but I only remember some of them, not a lot of them. A lot of these answers I looked up to, remember who they were. Don't kill me. Don't come for me. I'm sorry. But I do have to make a list. So my 7th will be, don't even know how to pronounce this, so that's gonna be bad. Zegbar? I think that's how you say it. I don't know. All I know about him is that he has an eye patch, and that's cool, I guess. So yeah, that's my 7th pick. I'm not gonna go into detail why, because I don't know why. He's just like the least one that I don't recognize. The other ones, I kind of have an idea of who they are a little bit. Alright, sorry V. Here's your 6th pick.
Coming in at number 6, let's now focus on Lexion. And by Lexion, I do mean Zexion, but he has a lexicon. So play on words right there, player. Play on words. Now, Zexion is kind of the most annoying characters ever! He is by far so annoying and so up his own ass in Chain of Memories and Re-Chain of Memories that I, honest to God, muted everything on the Game Boy Advance and the PlayStation 2 and the PlayStation 3 just so I wouldn't hear him talk at all. In fact, I was kind of tempted to blind myself so I wouldn't have to look at his dialogue when I was trying to fight against him in the Riku storyline. But in all honesty, that kind of aggression really did pay off in his boss fights, as well as trying to pay off in his backstory revealed in Birth by Sleep as a little child by the name of Inzo, a somewhat mute child, if you want to say mute at the time because he didn't want to talk at all, just hanging around with Ansem the Wise back in Radiant Garden before the huge experiment caused by Xehanort, aka Terranort, aka bitch boy dumbass got tricked by old pedophile to then have his heart be stolen so his body is now his puppet. I have problems with Terra. Either way, when it comes down to the final climactic battle, throughout all of the stuff leading up to the final fights for Riku to get into fighting Ansem, Seeker of Darkness, and all the other foes, what have you, Xian's fight felt so good, even though his gimmick of using his pages as well as trying to replicate stuff to make the battle seem more powerful in a way was quite frankly dumb. I mean completely dumb. But still, it did not give away the fact that it was an enjoyable boss fight, an enjoyable fight in general from Riku's storyline, even more enjoyable than the axe-wielding fuck nugget from earlier. And then trying to give him more of a character in Dream Job Distance as an adult, Inzo trying to help out with Lee find all of the people that helped him out, such as Roxas and Sora, as well as trying to then later on get his own Keyblade. Is that spoilers? Ah, fuck it, who cares? Let's now move on to Chris's number 6, as I try to forget all the things about Xion that puts him in on this list to begin with.
So my 6th pick is Demix. He was going to be my 7th, but I didn't have an idea who I was going to have as my 7th, so he ends up being my 6th. I had to have him on this list because, not that I liked him, it was just that he was very memorable. He was a very memorable fight. I remember how annoying he was and how much he got under my skin. Demix is a water-based organization person. He uses like this guitar weapon, which is kind of cool, but it was really annoying in the fight. Like the water fight was horrible, honestly annoying, and that was in Kingdom Hearts 2. And I remember him being so annoying. He's my number 6, even though he's kind of a terrible character.
At number 5, we're gonna go focus on the Lunar Berserk himself, the blue-haired cross/X scar on his face asshole, Saïx. Why am I using Saïx? Well, that's because Iza's nobody is an asshole. Seriously, this asshole decides to go from likable kid with a best friend of Lee, aka Axel, to then try and become the biggest douchebag as the number 7/right hand of Xemnas. This prick needed to get his ass kicked more ways to Sunday, and that's not even the worst part. When we're talking about his boss fight in Kingdom Hearts 2, where he was raining down the smackdown, where if you weren't prepared or you were just too tired from trying to fight the other fights and you had to go to school or work in the morning, you then had to get all the amount of his weird bat axe double-handed blade thing to smack you across the face and hope to God it doesn't become a suppository for your anus. And that's still not even the worst part. Where even after you defeat this asshole, when you find out that when you kill a Heartless and a Nobody, guess who comes back in Dream Job Distance as one of the vessels for Xehanort to then become an even bigger threat, having the powers of Xehanort, the Grand Master that started this whole bullshit from the Birth by Sleep era. Not really going into the stuff involving the Master of Masters, who will have his own subject talked about in a later video. But honestly, from this rage-inducing thing, why is he at number 5, you're probably wondering? This prick doesn't deserve anything. He should have been someone that should have been ignored and never talked about again. But that's the beauty of it. This prick, this undeniably dumb asshole, the Lunar Diviner himself, is so hateful throughout all the encounters that when you see this prick witch, you do not focus on anything else but simply wanting to kick his ass. And the fact of the matter is, since he is coming back for Kingdom Hearts 3 as one of the vessels of Xehanort in the true Organization XIII, that is grounds enough for an even more climactic ass-kicking for this man. But the fact of the matter is, since I have this much hatred for him to reach all the way up to number 5, even having more hatred for him than Inzo's nobody of Zexion, I can't really put him any higher because after this point, it's not a matter of hating the organization members, it's actually me liking them more than I let on. But that's enough of my stuff. Let's go into number 5 on Chris's end.
My 5th pick is Larxene. Larxene? Is that how you say it? I'm not entirely sure. She's like the only female member of Organization XIII, I think, and I don't remember a whole lot about her. I remember Axel eliminating her. I know she uses lightning and electrified throwing knives, which is pretty badass. But yeah, she's my number 5. I don't know why. Don't really have a good reason. Most of these are because I actually remember bits and pieces of them, which just sucks, but yeah, there you go. V, what is your number 4?
Coming in at number 4, this one's gonna be a little weird because they're not only a very important character, but arguably they're also a main protagonist in a sort of pseudo sense. Ladies and gentlemen, Roxas. Now, I know you guys probably scratching your head just like, really? Wouldn't he be like on a top 10 protagonist list? Well, he's scheduled to be on the top 10 protagonist list coming out in 2019, but that's beside the point. When it comes to the fact that he was a member of the organization, despite being Sora's and Ventus's sort of nobody, that in and of itself is kind of the beauty mark of why he would be at the top 4 at least, if not the top 3 being reserved for actual villains. The fact of the matter is, when you're looking at Roxas's whole story from becoming a mindless puppet that does not know a single thing about the outside world, how relationships work, how being around humans or any sort of other sentient nobodies work, because, you know, nobodies don't have feelings or emotions, am I right? Fellow Kingdom Hearts fans that find that nonsense bullshit. Where he finally then learns his own friendship stuff from his twin lover, best friend. I don't know what Gion is to him anymore. Trying to then come to terms to become a sort of suicidal hero to give up his own life force to meet up with Sora and give him his full-blown power of his own accord, if not to try and take down the organization himself, to find his own semblance of peace and serenity. However, once Riku comes into play to pretty much put him to sleep and put him in a virtual reality stuff, is where we finally get to see a little bit more of his characterization when he feels like he's nothing more than human. He feels more, he has more rage, he actually gives more of a shit about being more of a realistic character, all the while giving off a lot of the emotions and range that I've never seen Sora give off in the first 2 games. And then carrying on that spirit so that we see that as Sora has developed, he actually does carry that semblance of Roxas's whole range of emotions to give him even more of a character arc for himself. Even during the dive of the heart / Station of Awakening battle between Sora and Roxas, that whole semblance of a circle back to darkness and light, nothing and everything, coming back into a climactic battle of who is whom and why this person was chosen by not only the Keyblade, but Ventus at large. Dissected on such a grand scale, you see that with Roxas's whole lore, if it wasn't for him trying to become the mediator between not only the nothing and the everything, the light, the darkness, and the in-between, there would not be a sort of development scale for where Sora has come and gone since the first 2 games of Kingdom Hearts 1 and Chain of Memories, as well as giving more of a leeway for his potential return as one of the 7 lights / Keepers of Light that will help off in the final battle against Xehanort at large against his 13 Seekers of Darkness. This is, quite frankly, one of the most profoundly interesting characters I've seen in fiction in a long time since Zuko in Avatar: The Last Airbender. And the fact that they only try to cram in so much into not only a 3-hour tutorial, but his own game on the DS. D-fucking-S! It's no wonder that he wouldn't be at like the top 5 of anyone's list of heroes, but the fact that he's only at number 4 though is because his lore is so profound to only be a character arc for Sora alone, that you see that without Sora being a character, or even Ventus being a character, Roxas' whole existence becomes moot, but not without its own merits. And that's why I believe that him at number 4 is a nice little way of trying to bridge all of the rage-inducing or stuff of chance to also the darkest and most evil sense of the word for characterization. And now we will lead in to Chris's choice for number 4.
So my fourth would have to be Samnus, because he's the powerfulest member, at least it seems that way. He is the biggest, he's like a big villain, he's a huge villain. Manipulated Zora and Roxas and to use the Keyblade for himself, and he's just, the big bad villain. And that's pretty much all I can say. Blerg. I suck at this so much, but yeah.
Coming at number 3, let's talk about the big bads now that have really caught my eye. Let's start off with Xigbar. Oh, Xigbar, you deviously, disturbingly dumb bastard. Where do I even fucking begin with you? Well, for starters, let's go back to when he was a natural human of Break. Even before he was this sharp, silver-tongued dickhead that only wanted to cause mayhem and destruction, along with sort of sowing the oats of doubt and despair among Sora's whole logic in Kingdom Hearts 2. Back in the Birth by Sleep era, he was merely seeking power from the all-too-familiar Master Xehanort, as the key figure for how Terra ended up being the bitch boy / I guess puppet, because, well, Xehanort's using his body as, yeah, you get the idea. Make sure all of the events from every one of the current games as of right now, excluding the mobile game of Unchained X. From Kingdom Hearts 1, Chain of Memories, 2, technically recoded in a sense, 358 over 2 days, everything all the way leading to Kingdom Hearts 3. If it wasn't for Xigbar's whole human half of Breg trying to manipulate things from the background to make sure Xehanort's plans happened, we would just have the weird puppy dog story of a man focusing on whether or not he's good or evil, which would have been kind of a weird thing since we wouldn't have awesome Billy Zane voicing Ansem Seeker of Darkness. We miss you, Billy. But still, from just those elements, when we're talking about Breg, when we're going into Xigbar, that's when things get even worse. This man decides to not only use his position as one of the top 3 members of the organization to make sure that he keeps an eye on Xemnas' whole weird-esque behavior, since he's acting a lot more like Terra, even trying to talk to Aqua's old armor inside one of the weird passageways hidden within either Castle Oblivion or inside the World of Nothing. So, from all those whole actions, what does he decide to do? He decides to just play the confusing / manipulation game on the lead protagonist of Sora to lead into so many more obstacles and problems of even trying to seem as if he himself wants Sora to feel as if he is Ventus. From all the interactions, such as the one of, "That's right, he's giving me the exact same look," or even stuff of, "You're not like the old Keyblade wielders." And let's not forget about his boss fight, which I've yet to see a single person say they did not have fun with this whole warping / gun dodging / beat 'em up style combat against Xigbar. Whether it's against him as Breg, or him as Xigbar, or him as the new Xehanort in Kingdom Hearts 3, his gun battles are probably one of the biggest highlights for one of the mainstay final bosses on the final level to this date. I've never seen anyone go so far down a rabbit hole of destruction and malice for power on this grand scale in video game history in so long that by the time that I see him in Kingdom Hearts 3, you bet your ass I'm gonna beat the shit out of Brig and make sure I break him down to a subatomic level where even the Heartless themselves won't want his stupid ass heart. But why is he only a number 3, you might be asking, from all this long-winded stuff that makes me seem like a rip-off Green Scorpion? Simple! In comparison to the final 2 that are on my mind, his whole backstory thing and his interest kind of only end so far. And I truly do mean so far. But enough about all that sort of stuff that I could go into as sort of red herrings. Let's go into Chris's choice for number 3.
Okay, so for my third is Marluxia. I think I'm saying that right. I'm going to say this because it's going to be biased. He just looks like such a cool, badass guy. I mean, he has this long pink hair, and he has this pink scythe with a green hilt, and it's so cool looking. His power, nature, and that's awesome. They do with the petals and attacks his opponents with the scythe, and he's kind of a cool character. Okay, I'm sorry, he's cool. So V, go with your number 2.
Now coming into number 2, let us dissect the graceful assassin himself of Marluxia. Hold up. Chris, I know you worked super hard on this video and I really feel bad about this, but I gotta replace what I said about Marluxia here because I really don't want to go over the same details that we did in the top 5 boss fights. Or was it top 10? I kind of forget now. Oh god! Anyway, the reasons I chose Marluxia for the same reasons why I chose him as an interesting boss fight in the countdown that we did at the very beginning of the month. We've done a lot of the details about his backstory, so I'm not going to go over that stuff anymore. So let's just now go into Chris's entry of the countdown.
Roxas is my number 2. I know it's very cliche to pick, main characters. I guess I just grew in an attachment to the boy because you get to play him in Kingdom Hearts 2. That's how the game starts. And he's like Zora's nobody or something. I'm a terrible Kingdom Hearts fan. Don't know why. I thought I was going to do great at this, but I'm not. But he's my second. I'm sorry I'm not having very good detailed reasons why. Like I said in the beginning, I am not huge on Organization XIII members. I don't know their backstories. I don't know a whole lot. I'm a horrible Kingdom Hearts fan. Come at me, bro.
Let's first focus on Chris's choice for number 1 before I start off the rest of the festivities.
My number 1 pick is Axel because Axel is great. He's my favorite character. I love him so much. He's just so great. He's like the most relatable out of all of the organization members. Axel has this great crazy red hair. I have a thing for fire, I think. I'm a pyromaniac. So the whole fire and the red and it's the cool blades spinny thingies that I can't think of. Obviously he is annoying when you have to fight him, but he's great. He has the greatest lines and he's my favorite. Can't help myself. And so that is why he is number 1. And I don't know why I talk like a weirdo. Just talk like a normal person. But yes, I'm excited to see how everybody is going to react to all these videos. I hope you guys love them. I love them. And I loved editing them for V. And yeah. Bye guys. Hope you enjoyed. Alright. Here is V with his number 1. Guys, get excited. Because I'm excited.
Alrighty. For my choices, number 1, guys, could you even imagine me choosing someone else? I chose Xemnas, the leader of Organization XIII, as my number 1 choice. Where do I even start? So, unlike his heartless counterpart, aka Billy Zane, seriously, hashtag bring Billy Zane back as the voice of Ansem Seeker of Darkness. Unlike Billy Zane, aka Ansem Seeker of Darkness, Xemnas felt the most human. And I literally mean this because let's take it apart step by step. With Xemnas' whole character, he felt less like a copy of Xehanort himself and more like a copy of Terra himself in its entirety. His mannerisms, how he tried to only get Kingdom Hearts for his own means, whether it was to give himself maybe Terra's heart back if we think about it more clearly for his actions, and even how when you see that he's so determined to gather up these hearts, not cause world destruction, but just gather up hearts for a big enough purpose that literally could bend all of space and time to his very whim. It never felt like he was doing this because he wanted world domination or unlimited power or any sort of emotional tie-ins to make him better than his creator of Xehanort, but merely try to gather back the last remnants of himself as Terra. Even in the final climactic battles with Sora and his friends, he never once tried to make it seem as if he was fighting just for the sake of being purely evil, except for very badly written dialogue. If you take it apart on a much more meta level, he was fighting for his right to exist because Terra lived on more in Xemnas than in any incarnation that happened when the Heartless and Nobody were created. With Terra only holding his own heart as well as the heart of his former Master Ericus, he was given enough of a personality inside of the Nobody that Xehanort created that it gave a much grander fight in symbolism and in themes and in motifs than any other character in the organization. Sure, when it comes to stuff of lore, Roxas beats out. Sure, in the mannerisms of a master plan, Xigbar takes the mark by far. And in interest level of trying to be the archetype sort of rogue against the creator's plan, Marluxia takes it by a mile. But in symbolism, in themes, as well as in trying to create its own unique personality for himself, Xemnas takes it a lot farther than any organization member can and will do. And that's not even touching on his boss fights that even take the steps higher and higher in absurdity that comes from Kingdom Hearts battles. From going full-blown Matrix battle scenes in a dreamlike world on top of a skyscraper to then going full zebra power after his knight form and his dragon form fall to Sora, Riku, Mickey, Donald, and Goofy, to then give into an even more bombastic dragon fight that only Sora and Riku know how to take it down even more notches than 11,000 billion. To even the bombastic "it's raining lasers" moment that has been counted down by every countdown artist since the Autarch Flame himself. These battles alone could secure his spot at the number 1, but it does not stop there. Continuing on his own story in Dream Drop Distance, this fucker decides to give Sora a whole thing of memory lane and not try to manipulate him to become a vessel for the sake of being a vessel's sake, but simply utilize his darkness inside of Sora's own heart because you can still sense that Terra himself wants someone else besides his successor to know the agony of losing one's own path. Even still, once he's fighting Sora in that whole dreamlike state within another dreamlike state, you don't sense something of malice or destructive tendencies or that of the puppet of Xehanort to its full extent. You only sense that it's still Terra trying to fight for some small semblance of control and even trying to give small hints towards what the greater battle is to come for Sora and for Riku at that basis. And it only still got more fascinating that he only then became a full-blown puppet after Sora was taken, as if that was the final measure that Xehanort knew that he gave him too much of a personality from Terra himself that he tried to utilize and fix the problem once he felt like he had his 13th vessel, making that the moment of sad clarity. You can all say that this is small speculations, but in my opinion, that's just how it sits where I stand, that it felt more like Terra's whole fight for control was spiraling out of mad control against not only Xehanort himself, but his own heart still weakening from decades upon decades of small issues. It's a very sad occurrence, and it made studying Xemnas at large seem much more sadder, of a character with much more compelling archetypes than Nomura himself wanted to give. Still though, from all the sort of measures I'm going into, this is why I'm placing him at number 1 of the top 7 list for the organization. If I were to go by a top 13, he'd still be number 1, but then we'd have to go into even further things that would then go into the time traveling thing of Xehanort, and I still hate that part of Dream Drop Distance! Anyway though guys, that is all I'm gonna be offering for this countdown, and wow, me and Chris definitely gave you guys something of a really interesting list to go over. I'm kind of surprised that I was able to talk this long before I lost my voice, but I'm even more surprised by all of Chris's choices. I mean, I'm saying this before post because I'm gonna be even more surprised because Chris is awesome. Go subscribe to her right now. Go to HeyItsMeChriss right now and subscribe right now. Do it now! But, you know, that's whatever. Where the final countdown will be coming out tomorrow, that will be a crossover between myself and someone that finished their Mark of Mastery about 3 weeks before I did. I'm kind of jealous. Still though, guys, I hope you enjoy yourselves, and thank you once again for watching. Make sure you give this a like if you enjoyed it, leave comments below about your favorite organization members, and make sure you raise your Keyblade high, for the war has not yet ended.
Let me tell you a story.